back in those days, there was an awful lot of ghost stories around to make your hair stand up on your head listening to some of them. So I'll tell you another one about Dad. And Dad was afraid of nothing that wore shoes, be it an animal or a human being. He was afraid of nothing. Black and tans, fancy bolshy boys, he was afraid of nothing. And that was my Dad. And I am mighty proud of the fact that I had such a dad. Because he was a man amongst men. Was he ever? He was a man amongst men, my dad. Strong, he was strong. And thank God when I was young I inherited his strength. And I was strong too. And I was strong until I was nearly killed in 1969, but I was too tough to die. And I'm still around, thank God. Now, I'll tell you a story about Dad. He was in the Rock, the old Rock. The place is Felly now, I believe. But he was in the old Rock and we were in Westport, 20 miles away. And Dad had gone to bed. And around 2 o'clock there was a knock, came to the shop door. And Dad heard it, but he knew, well, there's lads trying to get in for have a late drink, like going home from someplace, and he decided let them go home. He didn't want to get up, you know. So that was all right. The knocking kept getting louder and louder. And in the end, he thought, if I don't get up, those guys are going to push the door in, you know. So he decided he'd get up. He got up and he didn't even light a candle. No electricity in those days, he didn't light a lamp either. He just walked up in his nightgown. And Dad used to wear one of these big, long, old-fashioned nightgowns that men used to wear in the olden days. No such thing as pajamas, that big nightgown, that was it. So anyways, he opened the door. And sure, when he did it, the thing was as, he could see nothing. Everything was as black as a bag outside. It was dark. Like the kind of weather when there's rain coming, it gets real dark, bold. So anyway, this thing, whatever it was, walked away from the door, but it didn't have any head on it. He could just see this object, but there was no head on it, but it walked away from his door. Now, there was a lot of stories at the time going on in the country about Curry gone can, a head without a body. Curry gone can. Curry would be the body and the can would be the head. Curry gone can. Curry without a head. And Dad thought to himself, am I watching one of these things? A body without a head. And he said to himself, 2 o'clock in the morning's a lonely time of night, black as a bag. And he said, if this thing, if I don't find out what this is, I'll be scared for the rest of my life. And there's only one way to find out, and that's folly it. So Dad followed it. In his bare feet, in his nightgown. He walked down the road, and the thing walked down in front of him. It walked over the side of the road until he came to the bush inn. Now the bush inn is right. I told Lauren, Alison, when she was going home, to ask Paddy to tell her where the bush inn used to be. Because the bush inn is straight down from Paddy's house on the side of the road. That's where it used to be in our time. It was a white thorn bush. Supposed to be white thorns in those days. They were supposed to be fairy bushes, if you want to believe that stuff, which I didn't. But anyway, many a time I eat haws off it in the harvest time. And there's an old saying in Ireland, when all fruit fails, it's welcome haws, because you can eat the haws. They're not as nice as an apple, but they make do. But anyway, when this thing got over to the bushing, there was a bank about 18 inches high at the time in front of the bushing, and this thing walked up the bank, and as it walked up the bank, the skyline over the mountain, over Glen Hill, the skyline, the head stuck up, and what was it but Thomas Gavin's ass from 1.5 miles down the road, who had been scratching his head on our front door to kill lice or something. So Dad stood there on the road and he just laughed. He laughed. Anyone that was seeing him laughing would say he was nuts. But he stood there on the road in his feet and in his nightgown on him, and he laughed. Because he knew, as he said afterwards, if he hadn't followed it and found out, he'd have always thought there was something around without a head on it. But he found out that Martin Gavin's ass had a head. When it stuck it up high, you could see it with the outline over the hill in the sky. So poor Dad came back and he went into bed and he had a good night's sleep for himself.